Get ready to meet a globe-trotting scientist who was building psychic robots and traveling to lost worlds way before it was cool. He is, without a doubt, one of the greatest sci-fi legends you've probably never heard of. And, well, we're about to change that.
So let me just ask you straight up, have you ever heard of Professor Shonku? If the answer is no, then you are in for an absolutely incredible ride.
Okay, so this is Professor Shonku. He's a brilliant multilingual inventor from Bengal in India, and his adventures take him literally everywhere, from the deepest jungles to the farthest corners of space. And get this, he was created by none other than the legendary Oscar-winning filmmaker Satyajit Ray, who poured his massive imagination into this whole series of fantastic stories.
To really get a handle on Shonku's unique world, I think the best way is to just dive right into one of his most fascinating adventures. It's a story that pits two very, very different robots against each other, and it asks some really deep questions about what it means to create something.
So the story kicks off with Shonku over in Germany. He's been invited to this super prestigious robotics conference to show off his latest creation, a robot named Robu. But here's the amazing part. Shonku built this highly intelligent assistant from his humble lab back home in India, pretty much on a shoestring budget. He's not just there to show off some fancy machine, he's there to prove that real genius doesn't need a billion-dollar facility.
And this is where we get our classic sci-fi rivalry. On one side, you've got Shonku's Robu. Okay, maybe it looks a little asymmetrical, a little homemade, but it is an absolute marvel of loyalty and efficiency. And it even develops a psychic link with Shonku. Then, on the other side, you've got the robot from his German rival, Dr. Borgelt. This thing is flawless, it's suave, it looks perfect, but it is all a lie. It's a deceitful imposter that has actually locked up its own creator.
And the final confrontation is just brilliant. The fake Borgelt tries to buy Robu off of Shonku with some antique gold, but Shonku refuses. He believes his work is for science, not for profit. That's when the imposter shows its true colors and threatens to kill him. But remember that psychic link? It pays off big time. Robu senses the danger, bursts into the room, and in this surprisingly simple move, just embraces the villain and pops its head clean off, revealing all the wires inside. It's a perfect ending, a battle won not with brute force, but with loyalty and connection.
And don't for a second think this is just some simple adventure story. As this analysis from the journal Death Voyage points out, these tales are just packed with psychological depth. They explore these complex ideas about identity, the rivalry between a creator and their creation, and what it even means to be human.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. The story of Robu isn't just a one-off adventure. It's actually part of a much bigger cultural picture. You could say Professor Shonku is India's answer to Western science fiction.
Now, to really get Shonku, you have to understand the Bengali term for science fiction, kalpa vigyan. It's not a direct translation. It's this beautiful combination of kalpana, which means imagination, and vigyan, which is knowledge of the material world. This whole concept creates a kind of sci-fi that isn't just stuck in sterile labs with hard physics. It makes room for things like ancient myths, forgotten wisdom, and just different ways of seeing the universe.
And that approach makes Shonku's stories an incredibly powerful statement. They're a perfect example of what academics call post-colonial writing back, basically taking a genre dominated by the West and completely reclaiming it. These stories push back hard against the idea that all scientific progress has to come from Europe or America. They celebrate local, indigenous knowledge and create a hero who really embodies the smarts and confidence of a newly independent India.
And hey, this isn't just some fan theory I cooked up. It's a topic of serious academic debate. Journals like Comparative Literature, East and West have analyzed how Shonku serves as this powerful symbol of anti-colonial thought, a character who fundamentally reshapes what science fiction can be, all from an Indian perspective.
So, here's the big question. How does this classic character from the 1960s connect with a modern, global audience? Well, the answer might actually surprise you. I think he's the perfect hero for the anime generation.
No, really, think about it. A genius scientist with all these quirky inventions, globe-trotting adventures, and these deep philosophical questions baked into every story. Doesn't that sound exactly like the kind of hero that would make an incredible anime?
Someone online put it perfectly, and this quote just nails it. Imagine the scientific wonder and crazy ingenuity of an anime like Dr. Stone, but you take away all that high-octane shonen energy, you replace it with the quiet, thoughtful, elegant style of Satyajit Ray. That is Professor Shonku.
What you get is a totally different flavor of sci-fi. It's way less about the flashy explosions and much more about the intellectual journey. You know, the stories really grapple with the real consequences of invention, the ethics of knowledge, and that huge responsibility that comes with being a genius. It's the kind of smart, cerebral storytelling that audiences who crave a brilliant mind at the center of the action would absolutely love.
And that is the real magic of these stories, isn't it? Every single trip to a lost city or encounter with some bizarre new creature becomes a chance to explore these bigger questions about humanity, about ambition, and about our place in the universe. It really is philosophy, just disguised as a grand adventure.
So when you get right down to it, Professor Shonku is so much more than just a character in some old stories. He represents this powerful, lasting legacy that is just as important today as it was decades ago.
He is living proof that science fiction doesn't have to come from just one part of the world or follow one set of tired old rules. He completely broadens the definition of the genre itself, showing all of us that a hero can be a quiet, thoughtful, resourceful scientist from Bengal, and that a science story can be filled with ancient myths and forgotten wisdom.
And really, discovering Professor Shonku leaves us with one final provocative question. His existence just makes you wonder, who else is out there? What other incredible worlds, what other brilliant ideas, and what other unforgettable heroes have we been missing out on simply because we haven't looked beyond the familiar?